Hello everybody and welcome to today's Sunday sermon, which is the fifth Sunday in Easter. And in our second reading today, written by John, these words are there. What I have created is a new heaven and a new earth. And this new heaven and new earth are fueled by love. And we are today looking at the word love. Love being the fire that makes everything work as a Christian. The fire that's deep in our hearts for love of God and love of our neighbour as we love ourselves. We love creation, we love everything. Love is what runs everything, like petrol in a car. So we need to have love. For me, I see great examples of love all around me. In families especially, where parents sacrifice themselves for the sake of their children, meaning they work hard to provide education, food, clothes, and a start in life so that their children may mature to be wholesome human beings with a great future. Nearly all the parents I meet have this desire in their lives. This is love in action. And I've seen children love their parents and try to make them proud of them, which is wonderful. It's wonderful to see love in action. I see love being expressed in people who go out at night to feed the homeless, to invite them to the shelters, especially in cold nights. This is love in action, very much. We see love in action with people who give of their time to others, to listen to them, to allow people to talk and to listen. Listening is a great act of love. And then we see that especially with people like the Samaritans, who are available day and night to people who suffer so much from depression and other forms of non-happiness, shall I say, rather than putting a name on anything. We see in the first reading, Paul and Barnabas goes back to their churches that they had passed through and helped to form it. And then they go back on their homeward-bound journey and they encourage the Christians who have taken on the message of the gospel. Encouragement is also a sign of love. It's another way of loving a person, to encourage them. Love helps us to forgive each other. And many people have memories of incidences that happen to them in their lives that make them very angry and revengeful. But with prayer and with the grace of God, divine grace, they can overcome this anger and revenge and even learn to forgive. There are plenty of examples of that happening as well. This is another sign of the love that Jesus came to show the world. We are, in this way, Christ's disciples. Disciples of love. But how do we measure up to the demands of the gospel and to what Christ wants us to be in loving each other and loving God? I have a few examples that might help us to examine ourselves and see how we are faring in loving God, loving our neighbour as we love ourselves. If we look at the world, There are many people in jails and in hospitals of rehabilitation. Maybe because in their communities, in their families, they weren't directed correctly. Maybe people didn't look after them as we should, as Christians. When we see a brother going wrong or a sister, it's our duty to help them, but we do it always out of love. We can advise a partner in a marriage to do the right thing and ask for forgiveness maybe, or to give forgiveness. We can advise a young man or young woman not to go down that road of drugs, we'll say, drinking, bad company. But we must do it with love. This is a loving thing, even though we know we are opening ourselves up to criticism and to hardship when we ask or advise a person about the way they are living their lives. So for evil to exist, it's just enough for good people to do nothing. And poor people end up in jail and in prison and substance abuse, maybe because we as Christians in our community didn't act as real Christians. Also in our world, there are millions of lapsed Catholics. They have stopped going to church for various reasons. And their reasons mightn't be what we think worthy of them stopping going to church. Doesn't matter. We pray for them. But we also look into our own hearts and see, are we good examples of love? Because a lot of people are drawn to our church or to any church when they see others in that church, how they behave and how they welcome the stranger. This was the early Christians. They were known by their love for one another, and we are part of those communities. Maybe they are disillusioned because Christians do not practice real love as the early Christians did just after the resurrection. They met, they shared, they showed the pagans that they were Christians by the love that existed between them. And that meant respect, concern, and a willingness to be available and to forgive, of course, and to do all the right things as a community should. This is the lesson of today's readings. Jesus' wish was that they may love one another. One of the major ways we show that we love our neighbor is through praying for them. And it doesn't cost that much. It's a bit of time, but to remember people in our prayers, the sick, the homeless, the lonely, the mourning, people who have difficulties in life and in their marriages. We pray for them. And that is one great way of showing our love, Christian love, love based on what Christ was all about. May God bless you. Have a lovely Sunday and a beautiful week ahead.